Okay, I'm live for the first time. This is scary. Okay, I'm going to be answering questions, so thank you to anyone who already submitted your question. I have a list, so I'm going to be looking this way a few times to read questions. And if you are joining live at any point, if you put your question in the comment, I think that I can see that, and if we have time, I will answer those as well. So, if you're new around here or you haven't seen my face yet, I'm Missy of Simplified Wardrobe. I'm a personal stylist and I specialize in capsule wardrobes and color analysis. So, without further ado, let's get to the first question. So, the first question is I can't figure out if my veins are blue or green. Does that mean I'm neutral? So, the vein test is one of the tests that you often use to figure out if you are cool or neutral, your undertones. And if they're blue, that means you're cool. If they're green, that usually means you're warm. And if you're somewhere in the middle, that generally means you're neutral, but it can be tricky to determine for a lot of people. So I would say if you think that you have both green and blue, or you're not sure if it's green or blue, then it could be turquoise, and that would generally mean that you are on the spectrum of neutral. Now, if you see some of them look kind of bluish, purplish, and some of them look, turquoisey, that probably means you are on the cool side, but sort of neutral, because undertone is a spectrum. So you might be totally, totally cool, in which case your veins would probably look purple to blue, or very, very warm, in which case your veins would look very green, like they would look green. And the turquoise is kind of the in the middle color. So you're right to think that you're probably neutral, and you might skew one way or the other. I hope that helps. The second question is also about color. It's actually which color analyst do you recommend? And I would say me. I actually do color analysis, so if you are watching this and you're interested, you can go to the link in my bio to get more information about color analysis. So, how do I do patterns and color well, especially with a capsule wardrobe? So, most capsule wardrobes that you'll see online tend to be pretty neutral, and then I think that gives capsule wardrobes maybe a bad name. So you don't really need to worry about being neutral. You don't have to always follow those like quote unquote rules when it comes to capsule wardrobes. You can add color and you can add pattern, but I would recommend that you actually think about what colors and patterns you're putting in your closet. So even before you get to the outfit stage, you want to make sure that your closet is more or less cohesive, so that even when you are picking and choosing from what's in there, it's more or less always going to match. And you can do that a few different ways. I have actually an entire video. If you go either on my IGTV or on my YouTube channel, it's all about how to create a color palette for your capsule wardrobe. But the long and short of it is that you want all of the colors in your closet to be cohesive, so that when you are mixing and matching, you don't really have to think about it at all. With that said, some of the easiest ways to do color, I think I have a post about this actually, maybe coming out today, is monochrome. Monochrome is super easy and always looks pulled together. So head to toe in the same color or different shades of that same color. Another really easy thing to do is pop of color. So that means, all neutral except for one pop of color. And that can be your shoes or your bag if you just want to go small, or it can be a blazer or pants if you want to make more of a statement with color. In terms of pattern, I think I have a blog post also about how to do pattern mixing. If you're just adding a single pattern, it's pretty easy to add one pattern to an all neutral otherwise outfit. So that's the easiest way to do pattern. If you want to mix patterns together or do pattern with color, you want to make sure that you are adding a color that is in the pattern that's the easiest way. So if you have a floral that has, like greens and pinks and reds, if you pull one of those colors out, so you have like a floral shirt, and then you can just do, red pants or something, pulling that color out. And if you're mixing patterns, you can do it a few different ways. Usually you want one larger pattern and one smaller pattern, and the colors of the patterns should be more or less the same. They don't have to be an exact match, but if you have multiple colors that are the same, it's much easier to match and it looks more cohesive. I hope that helped. How to style one item to get many looks. So again, this is starting in your closet. So this starts with what you're actually buying. You want to make sure that you're buying really versatile pieces, because it's much harder to get a bunch of different looks with a statement piece that really you can only wear one way. So when you're actually buying outfits or buying single items at the store, you want to ask yourself, can I wear this in multiple ways? So for example, if it's a blazer, can you wear this blazer, with slacks and also with jeans and maybe even over a sundress? And just really thinking about different ways that you can put things together. I'm not sure there's like a single rule that you can follow to figure out how to style one item to get many looks. Really, you just want to make sure that your wardrobe is so versatile that you can get many looks by just mixing and matching those pieces together. And the other thing I would say is just experiment. So take some time in your closet and just try things on together that maybe you wouldn't have thought to pair together, because you might find a lot of new outfits that way that you wouldn't, like I said, that you wouldn't have thought of before. And then I just said, what is the name of your YouTube channel? It's just Simplified Wardrobe. And I think that there's a link to that also in the link in my bio thing. But again, it's also on my IGTV. The videos are cross-promoted pretty much. They're very similar, so you can find it in either place. All right, next, I feel like I'm talking really fast because I'm nervous. So I'm gonna slow down a little bit. The next question, how do you style on a budget? So this, you don't have to have a lot of money to have great style. And there are a few different kind of strategies. One is having a smaller wardrobe. So really investing in pieces that are going to be versatile, that are going to last a long time. That way you aren't always having to buy new clothes. You don't need to invest in trends all the time. You really shouldn't be replacing your wardrobe every season with new trendy pieces. You should be putting investment pieces in your wardrobe that you can wear for a long time and that you're going to love for a long time. So just sort of switching your mindset from always needing new to really thinking about what you're purchasing so that you're making smart decisions and you don't have to buy as much. That's one way to cut down the budget. The other thing you can do is invest in things from consignment stores or thrift stores, or to really be watchful if you really want something. There are a few different, I think, Chrome plugins that you can get that will help you find things that are on sale. So if you can save it and then it will remind you or like send you an email or something if that thing goes on sale. So just that you can watch that. And I think, really the biggest thing is changing your mindset from I need a bunch of new clothes to I need the right clothes. And my computer screen just went to sleep, so I no longer have the questions that were up. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. All right, now I'm starting to look through the comments. My journey as a personal stylist. So I actually started my career as a designer. I worked in tech for a long time. For the first, almost 10 years of my career, I worked in tech as a UX and then a product designer. And I really enjoyed it, but I had always been interested in fashion. I went to graphic design or school for graphic design because I wanted to work at a fashion magazine. Then when I graduated college, uh, it was during the recession and the whole thing of like print is dead. Magazines were not hiring, so I ended up sort of falling into tech and doing that for a long time. But, you know, as someone who had always been into fashion, I found myself wearing jeans and t-shirts all the time because that's what all of the mostly men around me were wearing, and I didn't really feel great about my style or my closet. It was, as I say many times, bursting like to the gills, but I never felt like I had anything to wear because I wasn't investing in things and actually systematically creating my wardrobe. So for myself, I kind of went through a similar process that I used to go through to do UX design, which is, you know, diagnosing the problem and actually structuring the system to make a wardrobe that is interchangeable. So I did that for myself, and I ended up doing that for some of my friends, and eventually I took classes online to learn more about styling, and I took color classes because I was really interested in, if I am cutting down my wardrobe, what colors are going to look best on me so that I don't have to wear a ton of makeup. I don't have to, you know, I just don't have to have so many colors. When you have fewer colors in your palette and you know which ones look good on you, it cuts down all of your shopping decisions. Most of your clothes pretty much all go together automatically, and it's much easier. So I did that. I eventually, you know, started doing it on the side while doing some UX projects, and slowly transitioned into doing personal styling full time. I did it in person up until about like February or March, when everything turned upside down and I started figuring out how to do online styling. And now it's actually really awesome because I can work with people all around the world, and it's been a really, really cool experience that way. So, any other questions? Let me see if I can turn my computer back on really quick. Oh, here's the last question that was on the computer. How to transition seasons without buying a whole new wardrobe every 3 months? Yes, so like I said before, you definitely don't need to be buying a whole new wardrobe every 3 months. You don't need to be focusing on trends or what is like the top 10 things that you need this season. You should really be thinking about basics and things, and not even necessarily basics. If your style isn't minimalist, you can still invest in pieces that you're going to wear for a long time that are not necessarily trendy or necessarily, you know, they don't need to be basic, and they can be fun but still last you a while and still be versatile. For seasonality, layering is really your biggest answer for how to get more seasonally out of clothes. So for example, if you have a t-shirt that you really like that you want to be able to wear more often, you can pair it with a cardigan and even maybe a blazer, depending on how cold it gets. You can always put tights or leggings underneath most pants to make them warmer. The only real things that you can't necessarily get away with all year round are like linen doesn't really make a lot of sense in the winter, and like really thick wool doesn't make sense in the summer. But outside of that, you can pretty much wear anything all season and just layer to get more warmth. Like, that's really the secret. Okay, let me see. What does an in-person session look like? Well, normally it would look like I go to your house and we go through your closet, and then the second session is shopping. Shopping normally includes me pre-shopping, selecting a bunch of things for you, so you just have to show up to the dressing room. And then the third session is a styling session. But like I said, I'm not doing in person at the moment. We will see when it is safe to start doing that again. I might just be virtual from now on. I'm not sure yet, so we'll see what that entails for me. Okay, how can we figure out what colors look best? So I have a blog post about this. It's linked. I don't know if the link to the blog post specifically is in my bio, but if you go to the resources section on my website, you should be able to find it. It's called How to Find Your Undertone and Overtone. And then, so that's one blog post, and then it'll link you to the second one that helps you find your chroma, your contrast, and your depth. So your color is made up of those four things: overtone and undertone. That's usually the hardest one for people to figure out because it requires some color theory. So you have to, look at your skin and try to figure out like, well, is it more green or is it, more pink? And I give you 5 different exercises that you can do to try to help determine that, as well as a few different examples of people so that you can see, and hopefully that helps illuminate whether you're cool or warm. And then the other 3 are chroma, contrast, and depth. Those are usually easier to figure out. So we'll start with depth. Depth just refers to how much depth you have in your coloring, and it's based on the darkest part of your coloring. So like I have dark hair, so my depth is actually pretty deep, even though my skin is very pale. But if you are really light and you have like light blonde hair, your depth is probably very light. So you look better in lighter colors. And then contrast is how much contrast you have between the different elements of your face. So like, again, I have pretty dark hair and pretty pale skin, so my contrast is actually pretty high. It's medium to high because my hair is not like black. And then there's chroma, which refers to how much color you have in your coloring, if that makes sense. Are you more neutral or are you more colorful? Which sounds weird. But for example, if you're looking at me again, I actually have pretty low chroma because my hair is kind of ashy. I have a little bit of pink in my skin, but overall, like my eyes are gray and I'm pretty low chroma. So I actually look better in more neutrals and not as good in the brighter, more saturated colors. Those are the 4 elements. And again, those 2 blog posts will walk you through that whole process. You can also, again, I do color analysis professionally, so you can find information about that if you're interested in just having it done for you. Let me see. When your hair turns gray, does that change your coloring? So it might affect your coloring, but it won't totally change it. If you're warm and your hair goes gray, then it will probably mute you a little bit more than you otherwise were. So if you were like a bright spring or an autumn or something like that, and your hair starts to go gray, you might move a little bit more towards the muted end of the spectrum and farther from the bright end of the spectrum. If you're already cool, then turning gray really won't affect you at all. When you go gray, your hair lightens a lot. So if, say, you had my color hair and then I suddenly had white hair, that would change your contrast. So in whatever season you are or color type you are, you probably want to maybe go for the lighter colors. Although I will say sometimes when you have white hair and your coloring is a little more muted like that, you can actually bring more color back into your face by wearing brighter colors. So it's like, do you want more harmony or do you want to kind of like liven up your face? Those are the things that you should weigh. Let me see if I have any other questions written down. Oh, the only other question was about my glasses. These are from Warby Parker. And my other glasses are also from Warby Parker. I'm a big fan. And you'll probably see me wearing glasses more because I don't know if it's old age or always looking at a screen, but my eyes I start to get a headache if I'm not wearing my glasses all the time. So here it is. All right. Any other questions while we're here live? I feel like I just talked a lot, but it's only been 20 minutes. All right. I'll give you 1 second. And okay. Thank you so much. If you are here live or if you are watching this later, I will be posting this into my feed. And yeah, thank you so much. And please let me know also when oh wait, one more question really fast. Can you explain your virtual process? Yeah, you can find out a little bit more information about that on my website. I walk you through the steps, but basically it starts with just an informational call just to make sure that it starts with an application and then potentially moves to an informational call, and just to make sure that we're a good fit. And if everything, makes sense, we move forward, then you'll get some worksheets to fill out, like a questionnaire that helps me understand your lifestyle, your style, your budget, etc. And I'll also help you make a Pinterest board, again, so that I have a better idea of your style. And then we'll go through a virtual closet session. So we'll look at your closet, figure out where the holes are and what you need to have a more versatile wardrobe. And from there, I make you a wardrobe strategy guide. It'll potentially, depends on which package you get, but it's either a guide that's totally just about everything that you should be wearing, including color, cuts, styles, and outfit ideas. If you go for a more full service package, you'll also get a done for you capsule wardrobe, where you'll get links to purchase all of the items and outfits that mix your current clothes with the potential new clothes, and how to mix and match those together. If you're interested in that and learning more information, yeah, I suggest going to my website. The link is in my bio. I think the link is called Work With Me, or maybe Styling Services. If you get to my website, it's pretty easy to find the services page there. Yeah, so I hope that was helpful, and thank you again for being here. And if you could just let me know when the video is posted if this was helpful, if you want to see more lives or like Q&A type things. And yeah, have a good rest of your Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday. Okay, thanks.